This is Buganda, the largest province of the independent African country of Uganda. The rainfall is plentiful all the year round, and the country is green and fertile and heavily cultivated. To the south lies Lake Victoria, one of the largest lakes in the world. At its exit, hydroelectric power is generated. It provides a convenient means of transport between Uganda and the other East African countries of Kenya and Tanzania. The climate of Buganda is warm and there is no need for stone-built houses, so the homes of most people are of wooden frames covered with dried red marram mud and thatched with dried grass, or now more often covered with corrugated metal. The mild climate makes cultivation easy. Almost everywhere are plantain trees growing matoke or green banana, so there is no shortage of calories in the diet. It takes only 9 months before a newly planted tree bears matoke which is ready to eat. Protein-rich vegetable foods, like beans, are found in most gardens, and a great deal more could be grown. Beans contain 20 to 25% protein, and a good farmer has no difficulty in growing sufficient to meet the needs of his family. Animal protein is also plentiful. If protein from all sources, animal, fish and vegetable, was properly distributed, it has been estimated that there would be enough for the needs of all Uganda. The lakes and rivers abound with fish, and in some parts of the country, fishing is organised on a commercial basis. It is difficult for a casual visitor to believe that malnutrition can exist in a country as fertile as this. But exist it does. This child is suffering from Kwashiorkor, a disease caused by a diet containing adequate amounts of calories but very deficient in protein. The child is miserable and apathetic, and if he is not treated with protein-rich foods, he will soon die. Why has this child become so malnourished? To find the answer, we shall observe a typical household and study how the people live and how they prepare their food. The day starts early, and at dawn the whole family is preparing for the day's work. Only the youngest children eat. The rest have no breakfast at all. As soon as they are 3 years old, the children join their parents at work on the small cultivated plots called shambas. The youngest children are left in the care of Nakayiza, who is only 2 years old. The training of the girl for eventual motherhood starts almost as soon as she can walk. There are 2 wives in this family, and both share the various jobs in the house and shamba. The hard digging is done early in the morning before the sun becomes too hot. The 2 boys are now quite fit, but when younger, they were both treated in hospital for Kwashiorkor. The agricultural techniques are very simple. The ground is only scraped on the surface. Crop rotation and mineral fertilizers are almost unknown. About 10 o'clock, the matoke is collected. The matoke tree is cut about 2 feet from the ground and the severed part lowered gently to avoid damage to the fruit. The cut tree stem is torn into strips so that any insects in the stem are killed. The rotting vegetation also enriches the soil. Leaves from a nearby tree are cut with a hooked knife. After stripping away the main rib, the leaves are folded. All parts of the leaf will be used during the cooking. Before food preparation, the hands are always washed, but the water is not always clean. Young women must always kneel when working. The banana is topped and tailed and the outer skin cut away in strips. It cannot be peeled off like that of the sweet banana. When there are enough bananas for a meal, they are wrapped in the traditional leaf packet. No water, salt or seasoning is ever added. The cooking pot is prepared by adding the leaf stalks to form a lower layer. These are covered with large leaves. The matoke bundle is then put in the pot. Folded leaves are placed over the bundle and tucked in round the sides. A final layer of leaves is added as a lid. Everything is now ready for steaming the matoke. The cooked banana is eaten with sauces of various composition, but groundnuts form the basis of many of these. The sauce is the part of the diet richest in protein, but for a family of this size, it contains a bare 40 grams. To help flavour the sauce, tomatoes, onions, mushrooms, or more often green leaves may be cooked with the groundnuts. After boiling, the water is poured off the leaves, thus losing some of what little nutritious value they may have contained. After grinding with a pestle, the leaves are mixed with the powdered groundnuts. Water is added and gradually the mixture becomes almost the same consistency as a very thin soup. The sauce is cooked for about 15 minutes. The matoke is steamed for 2 to 3 hours, and after kneading is ready to be served for the main meal of the day, which is eaten about 2 o'clock. Before eating, everybody must wash their hands. The matoke packet is now opened and portions divided using a piece of folded matoke leaf. Each person is given their own small bowl of sauce. The staple is eaten with the fingers. A piece is pressed into a flattish lump and used as a scoop for some of the sauce. Young children find this very difficult and as a result eat very little of the protein-rich groundnut sauce, eating only the more starchy matoke. Adults achieve a certain elegance and efficiency in eating, but make little effort to help the young child. Soon, she may develop Kwashiorkor, as her brothers did. To help families living in this area, the British Medical Research Council run an outpatient clinic. It is open 2 days every fortnight, and 500 children regularly attend to receive not only dietary advice, but general medical attention as well. Detailed records are kept of the progress of all children attending the clinic. This is a new mother attending the clinic. She's asked questions which will aid not only the treatment of her child, but also help with the research to improve treatment in general. The child's age and the mother's complaints about his illness are noted. The family background is most important, and information is collected about father's occupation and the number of other wives and children. Details of the child's diet are also recorded. The child is carefully weighed, and his weight will be taken each time he attends the clinic. A reduced growth rate is often an early sign of malnutrition. A general clinical examination is now carried out. The nursing sister examines the abdomen, paying special attention to the spleen, which may be enlarged due to malaria. She listens to the heart and lungs to detect any abnormalities which might impair nutrition. The general clinical state is also assessed, and the skin and hair texture examined. This child is in good nutritional health. Children who are undernourished are given packets containing a milk powder preparation enriched with vegetable oil and sugar. The mother is given enough to last until the next time she attends the clinic. For a child of this age, one small packet will supplement the diet to give an adequate protein intake. Unfortunately, many children do not receive the recommended amount of supplementary milk. It may be distributed among the family. A sample of blood is taken by finger prick. Biochemical analysis of various constituents of the serum will be used to assess progress. Children with infections will receive appropriate therapy. Skin and chest infections and malaria are the most common problems. Scabies is treated with benzyl benzoate, impetigo with local gentian violet and systemic penicillin. Diseases which affect the general health of the child may affect the nutritional status and must be treated if dietary therapy is to be effective. In the queue awaiting examination is a boodoo. This child has been treated in the clinic for many months but shows no improvement. When the sister examines the child, she notes that the first clinical signs of Kwashiorkor are present. The hair is beginning to lose its black colour and springy texture and pulls out easily. She notes edema in the feet, caused by excess fluid in the tissues. The research unit associated with this clinic is interested in this type of mild Kwashiorkor, and the sister decides to admit the child to hospital. The father agrees, and his wife will stay with Abudu during the treatment. There are also twins at the clinic with quite a different nutritional picture. They are much younger and are suffering from a lack of food caused in this case by a failure of lactation. This clinical picture seen in these children is called marasmus. In Buganda, this starvation syndrome is quite rare, except in young babies. In other countries, where there is a general shortage of food, marasmus is common in much older children. These twins are also sent to hospital by the doctor. This is the Infantile Malnutrition Research Unit which the British Medical Research Council established in collaboration with the Uganda Ministry of Health. Abudu, on arrival, is examined by the director of the unit. The sparse hair and depigmentation of the skin is noted. A depression is easily made in the feet and legs, showing the presence of edema. A simple measurement of the chest and head demonstrates that malnutrition has markedly affected body growth. The chest circumference is less than the head. Another child in the ward is much worse. The hair is very sparse and easily pulls out. Gross edema is present in many parts of the body, a typical finding in severe Kwashiorkor. In the groins, the skin is starting to crack. Many children in this stage of the illness have much worse skin lesions. The clinical picture in the marasmic twins is quite different. There is no edema, little or no subcutaneous fat, and the hair is of normal colour and texture. The children are very underweight for their 12 months of age. The children are all treated on a diet based on milk protein. To dried skimmed milk is added casein to increase the protein content. Sugar is added, which makes the diet pleasant to the taste. Together with oil, it increases the calorie content so the protein can be more efficiently utilized. Evidence suggests a deficiency in sodium, potassium and magnesium, and the diet is supplemented with these minerals. A week's supply is mixed in bulk. Each day, a weighed amount is taken and mixed with water to the consistency of fresh milk. The children are fed 4 times a day and receive a total of 4 grams of protein and 80 calories for each kilogram body weight. When children are very ill, they sometimes will not feed. Although the mothers are taught how important it is to persuade their children to eat, it may be impossible. In cases like this, the milk must be fed to the child through a tube directly into the stomach. It is usually only necessary to tube feed children for a few days. When their health improves, appetite usually returns. As children improve, they are persuaded to eat more solid food as well. Matoki provides additional calories. Clinical treatment is helped by laboratory investigations. Many of the children are anemic. due partly to the lack of protein which is necessary for building of blood cells. The degree of anemia can be measured by estimating the proportion of red cells in the blood. The concentration of hemoglobin, the red pigment in the blood, is measured with a colorimeter. With treatment, the hemoglobin level rises and the anemia becomes improved. The serum proteins are always low and they are conveniently measured by a specific gravity method. A rise in serum protein concentration is a good index of successful therapy. The unit is continually striving to develop new diagnostic tests which will help to improve the treatment of Kwashiorkor. Biochemical techniques are employed to measure changes in cellular metabolism. Any abnormality must be corrected before the child will successfully recover. One of the techniques developed in the unit measures changes in the relative concentrations of amino acids in the blood serum. This offers the clinician a means of detecting very early Kwashiorkor and evaluating the response to treatment. After suitable staining, the amino acids separated by paper chromatography can be quantitatively eluted and measured in a spectrophotometer. Tests are carried out to ensure the various organs are functioning correctly. The sister is taking an electrocardiogram which records the electrical impulses of the heart. Studies have revealed an abnormality in the T wave which is corrected by the administration of magnesium. The results of the investigations must all be carefully listed. Each day, the exact amount of calories, carbohydrate, fat and protein eaten by the child is recorded. This information is essential if scientific work of the unit is going to be interpreted correctly. As well as details of the diet, records of antibiotic and other medicinal treatment are recorded. The laboratory reports of investigations for intercurrent infections are also carefully filed. Compilation of careful data concerning infections occurring in the malnourished child may help to clarify the interrelationship of these disorders. A most important aspect of the child's treatment is the health education of the mother. For most of them, this is the first formal teaching they have received. They are shown the protein-rich foods which their children need if they are to grow up strong and healthy. The mothers find these new ideas difficult to understand and accept. To help them, coloured drawings are given out, and these often take pride of place in their homes when they return. Photographs are shown of previous cases before treatment and after a short period on the milk diet. The mothers quickly recognize the similarities between the 6 children in the photograph and their own children. The pale hair is common in Buganda, and the mother is not really convinced that it will return to black merely by changing the diet. Edema is also well known, but previously no one had tried to give her an explanation for it. One of the mothers, who has been in the ward for some time, shows the new arrivals how to mix the reinforced milk powder which they will be given for their children when they leave the ward. Ways of making special diets for children from local foodstuffs are also demonstrated. The mothers are told to mix growth-promoting foods like beans and eggs with the traditional matoke. If this is done, the child will eat a balanced diet. The diet has been designed so that it may be cooked in the traditional way in the hope that it will be more acceptable to them when they return home. But the idea of preparing special food for young children is completely new to the Baganda. Although they take great interest in these new ideas, few actually put them into practice. This is disappointing, but only persistent educational efforts will achieve a slow but gradual change in the dietary habits of the country. Back in the ward, our sick children are rapidly responding to treatment. Their mental apathy has disappeared, and the nursing staff are delighted to find the children happily playing with the toys they have been given. It is now time for Obudu to be discharged from hospital and to return home with his mother. He is much better. The edema has completely gone. Before the children are discharged, the sister and nutritionist re-emphasize the importance of protein-rich foods. Each mother is given a month's supply of reinforced milk packets. For Obudu, who is only 18 months, 1 packet per day, which is equivalent to 1 pint of whole cream milk, will be sufficient to maintain nutritional progress. The mother takes home with her 3 documents: the drawing of the protein-rich food, a letter to the husband explaining what has been wrong with his child, and an outpatient card which shows when she must bring the child back to hospital. Everybody is naturally happy to be going home. The Baganda have a strict tradition of courtesy, and after saying their personal farewells, they take leave of the sister to whom they have developed a warm attachment. Back in their village, it is late afternoon. But this is a very special afternoon, for there is to be a wedding. The new bride walks in procession towards her future husband's home. In the traditional Baganda wedding, the key point of the ceremony is when the father of the bride officiates in giving the hand of his daughter to her bridegroom. Only at feast time do you see Baganda food at its best. The sauce is a thick meat stew and is eaten together with mounds of matoke. If the children had meat like this once a week, it is likely that the Kwashiorkor in Buganda would disappear. Traditionally, the bride leaves the reception before her husband. She passes through the guests to the house her bridegroom has prepared for her. This is one of the most important occasions of her life. Not only will she have to look after her husband, but soon she will be responsible for the welfare of children. Children who need not suffer like the ones we have seen in this film. After receiving the congratulations of his friends, the groom goes to his bride. Let us hope that he will join with his wife and blend the traditional ways of his people with the advice of Uganda's nutrition experts. In this land so fertile and so well endowed, there is no need for any child to be malnourished.